Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Officer Cadet Nicholas Just. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return in Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Club Association. We welcome members who are watching the ceremony broadcast across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we pay tribute to Private James Dungan. James Dungan, also known as Jim, was born Michael James Dungan on the 19th of September, 1880. His parents were William and Anne Dungan of Brisbane, Queensland. He probably grew up in Fortitude Valley, although little else is known about his early life. Following his education, he went on to work at the West End Brewery, where it was later noted he looked upon as a bright and smart young man. Jim Dungan enlisted to serve in the 4th Contingent sent to the war in South Africa as a member of the Queensland Imperial Bushmen. Members of the contingent were required to be good shots, good riders, and practical bushmen of experience, to have good eyesight and hearing and sound health. Having passed his examination, Dungan was accepted for service, leaving Australia on the 18th of May, 1900. The Imperial Bushmen arrived in Cape Town on the 23rd of June, moving inland to join Ian Hamilton's force in Pretoria shortly afterwards. In July, Private Hunnis, an old friend of Dungan, met up with him in Pretoria, later writing, "Jim was in good spirits and health and was very pleased to see me. We had a good talk about Brisbane and I promised to go see him again." A few hours later, a party including Private Dungan was sent out on a patrol near a place called Horton's Neck. Private Graham, another member of the party, described what happened. He wrote, "5 of us. We were sent into the pass to see if it was clear of the enemy. We got through the pass all right and turned to ride back when about 30 Boers, who were planted behind rocks, opened fire on us at a range of 100 yards. The bullets were coming round us like hail, and poor Jim was shot in 3 different places. He was riding alongside me when he was shot. I got off my horse and tried to get him up, and he was quite dead. And as the Boers were following us, we had to leave him and ride for our lives. They peppered us till we got out of range. If I live to be 100 years old, I will never know how I escaped getting shot. It was terrible to leave him lying there in that pass, but there was no help for it." Another member of the party, Trooper Hornsby, wrote, "Dungan was a fine fellow. We caught his horse and galloped until we were out of range of their fire, and glad we had made our escape, but sorry to see our mate go down without firing a shot. We could not recover his body, so there he lay until the next morning, the Red Cross Brigade going out and finding him. The following day, Private Hummus went around to see his friend and heard the news, which he wrote was a terrible shock. He was later outraged to find the Boers had stripped him of everything except his shirt and trousers. They even cut open the pockets of his pants and took his socks. He was wounded in 3 different places, namely head, heart, and stomach. He rode about 40 yards after receiving the first wound in the stomach, but never spoke. None of his mates were able to attend Dungan's funeral, most having been moved out of the area before he was even recovered. He was buried in Rippontan by English troops. Dungan was killed in action 2 months before his 20th birthday. His photograph is displayed by the Pool of Reflection. This is one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private James Dungan, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.